What's going on, everyone? Your main man Sinister here, and welcome to my channel. Hope you guys enjoy, like, subscribe. Let's get down to business, shall we? And of course, today's business is TMNT Rescuepalooza. Yeah, it's basically a fan-made game, by the folks at Mirrorsox. They made like 1,000, well, I should say 1,000, exaggerating there, but they made a lot of free games, stuff like this, like, fan-made, like, with your favorite characters, and of course, like the original IPs and things like that. So I'll leave the description down below. Excuse me. I'll leave that down below for you guys to check out and download and try out for yourself. So things like that. So anyways, let's dive into this game. And just like I mentioned before, it's a fan-made game. It's free for anyone to try, things like that. So anyways, I came across this during my break at work and it's on YouTube. I came across Mad Little Pixels channel. He was sitting there breaking it down, see how he was playing it, things like that. So I thought I'd try it out for myself. So anyways, like, just to dive into like specs and things like that. I mean graphically, it looks amazing and stuff like that. And, like, it's like something that you see like on the 16-bit console, Super Nintendo, Genesis, things of that nature. So basically, this fan-made game, it takes elements like from, basically from the 80s and the 90s, like during the height of its popularity, things like that. So things like you see like from the NES, Super NES, like the 3 Turtle games that was on the Nintendo, and then of course Turtles in Time that's on the Super Nintendo. Plus, they took characters like from the fighting game, the Tournament Fighters game, which is you can play on Super Nintendo, Genesis, NES, things of that nature. So, anyways, like I said, graphically, like the level design looks cool, things like that, like this dojo level, for example, because this is something that's been retouched, like from the NES level. Of course, on the NES, this is like one of the exclusive levels that was on the NES version, which you didn't see on the actual arcade game. So things of that nature. And then of course, like the overall map, which is like from the first game, it's also been retouched, which is really cool, things like that. So anyways, like basically just a quick thing. Story begins like, okay, Shredder, you see it on TV, Turtle's like, oh, not this again, like something that you see before, like Shredder always popping up your TV, he's always kidnapping people. So basically that's what he's up to. But this time Shredder kidnaps all your allies, and it's up to you to rescue them. So basically, like, you and your turtle brothers, have to go rescue them. And what I like about this game is, like, hey, you go through all these different levels, fight swarms of enemies, take out the mid boss, then you fight the actual boss, and then of course after that, those characters become unlockable. So, of course, I read the descriptions, like over 60 characters you can unlock, so things like that. So it adds like to a lot of replay value, which is really cool, things like that. So anyways, as for the controls and things of that nature, well, you can use the keyboard or you can use the controller, but to me, I recommend using the controller, whether it's like a 360 controller or a PlayStation controller, things like that, or even a Switch controller. It's just, hey, it's whatever you prefer. So things like that. So anyways, like before you even begin the game or see the story start, you basically you're thrown into a tutorial level. And of course, whatever turtle you choose, Splinter's right there to train you about the controls and stuff like that, like how to attack, how to jump, different ways to take out your enemy, like a straight attack, like a flying kick, attack, stuff like that. So anyways, once you get through that, that's the easy part. But of course, the tough part is like, okay, now the meat and potatoes begins. You get thrown to the level. So basically, you start out as an overview map, which you see like from the first game. Then you choose your areas, like this dojo level, for example. Like I said, once you go thrown to that level, you go to work. But before you go to work, you got to choose your character and things like that. So basically, you start out as the 4 turtles, like whoever you choose and things like that. So, as you read on, like whoever you choose, you can look at their stats. Like, so basically, the 4 turtles, they're well balanced and stuff like that. Like, got low stats, like kind of 2 stats and stuff, like in all their categories and things like that. But like I said, as you progress later in the game, as you unlock other characters, you see their stats, like, okay, they may be great in strength but slow in speed, and vice versa. So basically you have to choose wisely, who do you want to use to the game. So like I said, like, of course, going through the game, you can always use different characters. Or if you're going through the story mode for the first time, it's like, oh, I used up all my characters. I was like, well, if you beat any of the previous levels, you can use those unlockable characters, so things like that. So, anyways, like as I stated, as you know, whatever level you beat, you can't go back to it. So things like that. So basically, you just have to keep moving forward until you get to the end, things like that. So, anyways, like the gameplay, it's fun. You know, like I said, the controls are cool. You know, using the controller, like I said, it brings back that nostalgia feel, things like that. You know, just like I said, memories of playing it back in the '90s and things like that. So, you know, like the arcade or the NES or Genesis, or whatever you played it on back in the day, things like that. So anyways, and that's enough of my thoughts. So I definitely want to hear your thoughts about this game. You know, have you tried it, or do you want to try it? Just leave your comments down below. So of course, like I said, I'll leave a link in the description so you can check it out for yourself. So definitely want to hear from you. So anyways, about to wrap it up. This is Sinister. Be easy.
It will be easier if you don't resist, and less dangerous.